Hello children, welcome to the online classes. I am Suma, Economics lecturer, Gopalswamy PU College, Mysore. So, in continuation with the 6th lesson in the Indian economic development of your first PUC Economics, today we are having the session of agricultural diversification. In our previous sessions, we learnt about the strategies for the rural development and microcredit, and we also learnt about agricultural marketing. Under agricultural marketing, we had the government's support, and government has created APMC markets. So, all these you all learned, and even the cooperative marketing system is also in existence. So, this helps the farmers to reduce their burden of marketing. And other than this, we have different alternate marketing channels also. The one is direct selling, that farmers can take the cultivated crops directly to the doors of the consumers and they can sell it and they can only avail the profit of it. Wherein if they allow the intermediaries, they were forcing them to fix the low prices, or either they were threatening that there is no demand for the product of that particular farmer and therefore they were only buying it at lesser prices. So, to avoid this risk or to avoid these losses, the farmer has planned to come to directly to the homes of the consumers and he only is selling his cultivated product. So, now let us see the other marketing, alternate marketing channels. Prior to this, you knew that government has helped them, that government has established the marketing channels like APMC market, and each APMC market has different names in the different states. In Haryana it is called as Apni Mandi, in Pune it is called as Hadaspur Mandi, and you go to Tamil Nadu you have Ulavar Sandai, and if you go to Telangana it is the Raitu Bazaar. In Karnataka we have the other markets. We have APMC markets in every district, and whatever the farm produces are obtained through harvest in the nearby region will be sold in wholesale. So, for example, Madduru is the largest supplier of tender coconut to the Asia. The jaggery that is obtained through the sugar cane is supplied to the North Indian states, and all the jaggery that is obtained out of these sugar cane will be collected in the APMC market of Mandya, and together they will be sold to the other parts of our country. So, regulated markets are going to help, the regulated markets are already helping the farmers to make more profit, and they even did not allow them to make or experience losses, wherein under cooperative system of marketing they can get better prices at a collective sale. Because for example, cooperative marketing, you have Janata Bazaar established by the government of Karnataka. There through collective sale the farmers get more profit because they sell it at a reasonable price, and people trust on the quality of the products that are available in a cooperative marketing system, and they buy it in larger quantities, and the farmer is going to be benefited out of it. And here the transportation facility is also available to the farmers at a subsidized rate, because they want to supply it to the cooperative marketing system, and they can come to the market and supply their products with subsidized rates. And government even follows the minimum support price policy to enhance the life of the farmers in the situations where there is no demand for their product. So, now let us see the other alternative marketing channels. So, now let us see about the other alternative marketing channels other than this supplying to the APMC market or cooperative market system or to the direct selling. We have few more other alternate marketing channels. So, now let us see about these alternate marketing channels, that there are lots of national and multinational marketing channels operating in our country, and these are like the largest marketing channel of the world. The chain of markets we can say, it is the Walmart, and these national and multinational marketing channels have entered to our country too, and they are helping the farmers to sustain their life. Actually they are benefiting, but the retail marketing firms have also entered, like ITC, Reliance have also entered to farm products, also have also entered to purchase the products cultivated by the farmers in the farm itself, and they are selling it in a sophisticated showrooms. So all these efforts are taken by the government sector and the private sector to help the farmers to uplift their lifestyle. So these national and multinational channels, marketing channels, only provide the inputs. Many a times these marketing channels are providing the inputs to the farmers, like that HYV seeds maybe, or the manures maybe, fertilizers maybe, and after the period of the growth, during the time of harvest, they are only coming with their own transportation, and they gather the product and pay the price in advance. The earlier only they have paid some prices to the farmers, and this is helping the farmer from not quitting from the activity of agriculture, because these days for many people are not having the interest in cultivation or farming activities. So this helps the expansion of market for farm products, and it even helps the farmers to reduce the price risks. In the threat of the reduction of price during the time of harvest, if other competitors are also harvesting on the same day or same season, and they are also providing to the market on the same period, then each farmer had a threat that his product may not fetch him the investment amount also. But in the case of entry of these marketing channels, the assurance of minimum price is given by these channels, and the price risks has been reduced. So now let's move towards the topic of agricultural diversification. What is meant by diversification? The diversification is you are diverting the farmers from depending on the farming activity only, because it is a greater risk to do farming activity in India, because most of the farmers in India are small landholders or marginal farmers with small pieces of landholds, and they are highly dependent on the monsoon rains, and these monsoons rains are gambling over the life of the farmers. Therefore, the farmers are leaving out the field only, and they are moving, or they are migrating to the other areas in search of jobs. So this activity has threatened them, the farming activity has threatened them, that there is no sustainable livelihood here. So they, in search of other options which provide them sustainable livelihood, they are going towards the other areas, and they are being diverted towards the other non-farming activities. So here the farmers should be given education, or they should be counseled towards the threat of these natural calamities, as well as the non-happening of the rains, non-occurrence of the rains at the particular period when it is required. So the diversification is of two types: diversification of crop production, and the second one is diversification of production activities, because there are many people who does not want to go out of this farming activity. If they are asking them, if they are asked to leave the farming activity and divert themselves to the other activities, they are not willing. They say that they don't have any knowledge, education, skill, and also the experience, and they are afraid to shift themselves, because from their forefathers period also they are into the farming activity, and they are not willing to come out of that activity. So for them, one option is there that they can follow multiple cropping, because If only one crop has been harvested over the complete area of land, that what happens during the harvest time, when the price reduces, if the price of that product reduces, he is going to experience complete loss. So instead he is asked to grow few more other crops also. So if he grows few more crops on the same piece of land, if one product's price is reduced, then this loss can be made good with the price of the other products also. And there are lots of seasonal crops also that can be grown in between the areas available with the perennial crops. A perennial crop is one which is harvested once in a year. Biennial crop is one where two harvests can be taken, that it can be grown in the two seasons also. And these crops are going to help him to fetch his livelihood if he follows the multiple cropping system, because in India there are different cropping seasons as well as different cropping patterns followed around the country. The three major important cropping seasons in India are the Kharif, Rabi and the Zaid. Kharif season, Rabi season and the Zaid season. These three seasons are the cropping seasons in India, wherein this Kharif season begins from June with the advent of monsoon rains and ends with the October. And this Rabi season begins from October, ends at March, and the Zaid season begins from March and it ends at June. Okay, so the Zaid season is between March to June and Kharif season is between June to October, wherein the Rabi season is between October to March. You can see there are some crops that are grown in both this Kharif season as well as Rabi season, and there are few crops that can be grown only in the Kharif season. For example, rice, soya bean, millets, jowar, etc. All these food crops are grown in Kharif season, because you all know for the paddy cultivation there should be the stagnation of water, lots of water is required. And Rabi season begins in the month of October and ends with March. So this Rabi season is known for cultivation of wheat, and North Indian crops are all almost Rabi crops, and Zaid season has only 4 months station. Here the cucumber, the creeper plants, watermelon, pumpkin are all grown. So all these are the three seasons. So these three seasons fetch the need of the food grains and all the vegetables and fruits for all over the year to the complete country. So these Kharif, Rabi and Zaid seasons, the farmers can cultivate many other temporary or short duration crops and also the leguminous plants, the legumes. Okay, so all the grains, food grains and the dicotyledon grains can be grown during that period. So under this agricultural diversification, again we will come to the non-farming activities. Here we have the multiple cropping pattern that is grown in the Kharif, Rabi and Zaid season, wherein under the agricultural diversification, here in the second pattern, second type, we have the non-farming activities. The non-farming activities reduces the risk of low prices that are threatening the farmer, that when they grow the products, when they are harvesting the products or when they are supplied to the market, the prices may go down, may incur losses. This threat of reduction of low prices for the products can be reduced if they accept the non-farming activities. And it creates ecological balance also, because even though we are living in an agrarian country, every person cannot involve himself in the cultivation of crops. He can do some allied activities related to this agriculture as well as non-agriculture. So, then it provides sustainable livelihood option to the rural people. The sustainable livelihood option is promised to the rural people at the if they follow the non-farming activities. If the non-farming activities are accepted, if they come boldly and if they take up the risk of accepting the non-farming activities, definitely it fetches them a sustainable livelihood, because for these small landholders and the marginal farmers, the sustained livelihood is a big challenge. So now let's see about the non-farming activities that can be undertaken by a rural person. These are the animal husbandry, fisheries, horticulture, agro-processing industries and other allied industries. In our next session, we are learning about the topics of these animal husbandry, fisheries, horticulture and agro-processing.